Okay, Bismillah. Okay, folks, welcome back. This is Simultaneous Equations. Today we're looking at one linear and one circle equations. I'm doing this lesson on behalf of my class in school, level S6. Okay, folks, I hope this helps you towards your understanding of how we do what we call in class type 4 type of simultaneous equations. So let's have a look what we have here. So first of all, we have x squared add y squared equals 5. This is an equation of a circle equation. We have y equals 3x plus 1. This is a linear equation or a straight line equation. So we're gonna eliminate today. We're gonna eliminate the y in the first equation by substituting this into the. So let's have a look. It says y equals 3x plus 1. Y is over there as well. So we're going to, where we see a y, we're going to grab this and put it into there. So now we can write down x squared from here, x squared add, it says y squared. So here's y. I'm going to square it all now. Equals 5. Okay, equation 1.1. Now, please make sure you don't do the common mistake of just squaring that and squaring this. That's not how you do it. We have a sum here. We have this bracket has to be squared, so we have to multiply the bracket by itself. So we'll just write it out properly. Okay, what we're going to do now that for where we have the y squared, we substitute the actual, what the y is equal to into here and squared it, double it. We're going to multiply the double brackets. We're going to simplify everything and even get the 5 onto this side as well. So let's do the next part. So we say here, 3x, so multiplying this double bracket here, 3x times by 3x will give us 9x squared. 3x times by plus 1 will give us plus 3x. Plus 1 times by 3x is plus 3x, and plus 1 times by plus 1 is plus 1 equals 5. Now we need to get this 5 from the right hand side over to the left hand side and get left behind the 0. So when we simplified all this, it will give us a nice quadratic equation. We need the quadratic equation to be equal to 0. That's what it needs to be when we are solving it. So let's quickly grab the 5 and throw it over here. It becomes on this side now, minus 5, leaving behind here a 0. Okay. And let's have a look what we have here on the left hand side now. We've got lots of little parts. Let's simplify them. So the x squared stays as it is on its own, because there's no other x squared term. Pardon me. We have x squared plus another 9x squared. So that will give us x, that's 1x squared. That's 9x squared. So that will give us a total of 10x squared. So those two items will be done. We have plus 3x, so that will give us plus 6x. We have plus 1 minus 5. If I have 1 and I owe you 5, then I owe you 4. Okay, so we have this quadratic equation. Normally, when we factorize quadratic equations, we normally have these. The question that we normally have is 1. We don't have no number there at all. But 10 at the moment is quite a big number. So we're trying to simplify this now, get down to a smaller number. So if you look at 10 and 6 and 4, the highest common factor is 2. So we're going to simplify all of this by dividing it by 2. And what we do here, we do here, we do here, we do here. So now we have 5x squared. Add 3x minus 2 is equal to nothing. Okay, now, when we factorize quadratic equations that have a coefficient here of the x squared which is higher than 1, then we need to split up this number as well. So for example, we look at this 5x squared here. 5 is a prime number, it can only be split up into 5 and 1. So it will be 5x times by x. So when we do our brackets, the only way we can factorize the first part is by having a 5x here and an x here. Now we're still going to look for two numbers that multiply to give us minus 2. So that's the first part. We have to split this up into its factors. One part goes there, one part goes there. Normally it's x here and x there. But since we've got 5x squared, we have to have it done in such a way. Okay, so this is one of the this is the only factor pairs that you can have for 5x squared. It's 5x times by x in terms of the one with the x on both sides. Now, let's look at minus 2 now. So we need to work out what two numbers multiply to give you minus 2. So minus 2 can be made up of minus 1 times by plus 2, or it can be made up of plus 1 times by minus 2. Then with the two factor pairs that multiply to give you minus 2, and now we need to think about these by putting them into here. Now because we've got an element of 5 here, so it's not as simple as they multiply to give you the end number and add up to give you the middle number. It's a bit more than that in this particular question, but we still need to get the multiply to give you minus 2. So there's going to be one of these two answers. We have to put those answers in the correct position. This is sometimes we have to do a bit of trial and improvement, put them in which position, that when we multiply it out, it gives us the right answer. So let's have a go. So we need to have an overall positive x value. So let's have a look. We've got minus 1 and plus 2, so we don't want to make the minuses too big. So we could, for example, put let's try this one here. Let's put the plus 1 here. So that will give us a nice plus 5x. Put the minus 2 over here on the inside. So when we do that part of the multiplying of the brackets, it should give us the right number for here, which is plus 3x. Okay, so let's have a quick check. 5x times by x is 5x squared. 5x times by plus 1 is plus 5x. Then times these two, that gives you minus 2x, so 5x minus 2x is 3x, that's correct. And minus 2 times by plus 1 is also minus 2, so that's correct. So with this style of question, where the coefficient of x squared is more than 1, it's not as simple as we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you the last number and add up to the middle number, because minus 2 add 1 doesn't give you plus 3. But what we have to do here, we have to think about the best positioning of the numbers. So when we multiply the 5x with this number and we multiply x with this number, it will give us a simplified answer of plus 3x. So it's a slightly different technique. So now we have a correct factorization. Let's get rid of these. Now we need to solve these. We have 5x minus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so we're going to carry on over here. Now, when we're going to be solving this factorized equation, the idea is the same as we've done in the easier questions. We have to make each bracket equal to 0, because once a bracket is equal to 0, 0 times by whatever is another bracket will always give you 0. So that will give us our solution. Because we need to make this left hand side equal to 0. And the way to do that is either make the first bracket 0 or the second one 0. Now, just by observation, if you look at this bracket here, it's the easiest one to do first. If I want to make this equal to 0, I'll put in here for x minus 1. Because minus 1 add 1 is nothing. So this one we can just, by looking at it, we can give the answer. If it's plus 1, it'll be the opposite, which is minus 1. This one here is a bit more tricky. So we're going to use the algebraic technique for that one. So we're not going to solve it by sight. So we have to make this bracket equal to 0. So we write down here 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now, 5x minus 2 equals 0. We solve this in the normal way we solve a linear equation. We start at the x. X has been timed by 5. That's the first action. Then it's been minus by 2, which is called the second action. Okay, so we always move the last action first. So opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. Plus 2. Okay. So now we have 5x is 2. Opposite of time by 5 is divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to 2/5. Okay. Right. So now what we have here is our two x values, x1, x2. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to substitute these values back in to preferably the second equation and work out the corresponding y values. Okay, we're running out of board space as well. So I think I'm going to use the space. Where you've got space on there. So here we go. Y is equal to 3x plus 1 over here. Y equals 3x plus 1 is the second equation. I'm going to get these two x values and put them into here. So we have here minus 1. Pick that up. Put it into here. So that's saying now 3 times by minus 1 is minus 3. Minus 3 add 1 will give us minus 2. Okay, now here comes the second substitution. So we're using the same equation again. It's equation number 2. Y is equal to 3x plus 1. So the second x value was 2/5. Okay, so we're going to put 2/5 into here. I'm going to grab this 2/5 from here, pull it down and put it into here. So now we have in here so we have y is equal to 3 times by 2/5 plus 1. Well, 3 times by 2/5, well 3 times by 2 is 6. 6/5 is 1 and 1/5. Add 1 will give us 2 and 1/5. Okay, so we have now worked out the two corresponding y values. And I'm going to write them over here now. So when x is equal to minus 1, y is equal to minus 2. Okay, when x2 was 2/5, put 2/5 in that gives us 2 1/5. Okay, so there we have it. So this particular question, x squared add y squared equals 5 is the first equation. Y equals 3x plus 1 has a solution of x1 is minus 1, y1 is minus 2. The second solution is x2 is 2/5 and y is 2 and 1/5. Okay folks, thank you very much for joining us on this question. Hope this question explains a bit more the techniques we need to utilize to solve these kind of questions. Okay, thank you very much.